Good evening, I'm your host Jacobo Garrido, and welcome to this week's national news coverage brought to you by L28 News. Tonight we focus on three major topics shaping the country: the bomb cyclone that ripped through the Pacific Northwest, LA enacts Sanctuary City Ordinance, and rounding out tonight's coverage, LA County funds support for vulnerable communities. Let's get started. Our top story tonight: the Pacific Northwest is in the aftermath of a catastrophic bomb cyclone, a weather phenomenon that brought hurricane-force winds, relentless rainfall, and unprecedented flooding. The cyclone, which swept through Washington and Oregon, left 500,000 residents without power and forced emergency evacuations in several communities. In Seattle, powerful winds reaching up to 70 miles per hour uprooted trees, crashing them onto homes and vehicles, while in Portland, severe flooding submerged major roadways like Interstate 5, turning routine commutes into dangerous rescue operations. The storm caused an estimated $1 billion in damages, leaving some neighborhoods still inundated with water days after the cyclone passed. Tragically, the bomb cyclone claimed 2 lives, one in Washington and another in Oregon, due to falling debris and sudden flash floods that created perilous conditions across the region. Climate scientists point to the growing intensity of these events as evidence of a warming planet. Dr. Amelia Johnson of NOAA explains the Pacific Northwest is seeing more frequent and extreme weather events due to rising sea temperatures and shifting atmospheric patterns. This bomb cyclone is just one example of how climate change is reshaping our environment. The federal disaster relief funds have been mobilized to support recovery efforts. Meanwhile, local authorities urge residents to prepare for possible after effects, including landslides and infrastructure failures. Turning now to Los Angeles, where city officials are taking a stand against proposed federal immigration crackdowns. This week, the city enacted a long-debated Sanctuary City Ordinance, solidifying its role as a safe haven for immigrants ahead of the potential reinstatement of Trump's controversial Mass Deportation Act. Under the ordinance, Los Angeles city employees are prohibited from cooperating with federal immigration authorities, including sharing information about undocumented residents. Mayor Karen Bass, a vocal supporter of the measure, emphasized the importance of protecting vulnerable communities, stating, "Los Angeles is home to millions of hardworking immigrants. We will not allow divisive policies to tear our families apart." Critics argue the ordinance could place the city in legal jeopardy by directly opposing federal mandates. However, immigrant rights advocates hailed the decision as a lifeline for undocumented residents who fear deportation, giving them hope and valuing the humanity of all who call LA home. Finally, tonight, Los Angeles County is doubling down on its commitment to inclusion with a new multi-million-dollar funding initiative to support immigrants and transgender residents. The move comes as Trump-era policies resurface, threatening to marginalize already vulnerable groups. The approved funds will expand legal aid for immigrants facing deportation, provide critical housing assistance, and offer workforce development programs to help integrate these communities into the local economy. Transgender residents who face disproportionately high rates of homelessness will also receive targeted healthcare and shelter services as part of the initiative. Supervisor Hilda Solis spoke passionately about the measure, stating, "This funding is more than a safety net, it's a statement. Los Angeles County will not stand by as its most vulnerable residents are targeted." Advocates applauded the decision, calling it a blueprint for how local governments can act decisively in the face of federal uncertainty. That wraps up tonight's national news segment here on L28 News. From battling a climate disaster to taking bold action for immigrant and transgender communities, tonight's stories showcase resilience and the enduring fight for justice. We'll continue to keep you updated on these stories and more as they continue to unfold. I'm Jacobo Garrido, and on behalf of the entire L28 team, thank you for tuning in, stay safe, and good night. If you want to stay informed on the latest news impacting our country, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by scanning the QR code below.